Okay. We start with refuge and bodhicitta generation. Taking refuge, I must explain just a little bit. Taking refuge is to rely on something and then save ourselves from a danger. Yeah? Small baby is left in the ground and there is a very scary tiger or something, standing somewhere the other side of the baby, and the mother is standing also, on the other side. So the small baby will feel the danger from that tiger. Fearing that tiger, the baby will cry and the baby will try his best to run into his mother's lap. That's baby taking refuge in mother, because the baby has confidence not that his mother can physically fight and win the tiger, but the baby is confident that she will dedicate herself to save the baby. That's why naturally the baby feels that. Baby will not run into the tigers, with the trust, fearing his mother. Yeah? That's why taking refuge is to go to something that can be reliable, with the confidence. In the other word we can also call the devotion. That's the taking refuge. In this word, the only thing that we can rely on is the one who has liberated from the danger, of everything. That's the Buddha. I'm not completely talking about a historical Buddha. The historical Buddha, 2,500 years something ago, born in Nepal, known as Siddhartha, who became Buddha at the age of 35. and taught for the rest almost 45 years in his life. But I am talking about the Buddha of past, present and future. So we can also be the one among them. The Buddha is the one who has liberated himself from all kinds of danger. So that's why Buddha is the ultimately reliable object of refuge. If Buddha became enlightened just for the sake of himself, still I think, we cannot rely on him. And also there is no way the Buddha somebody become Buddha in a selfish way. No matter how skillfully, how clever way he tries, he will not success in becoming enlightened. Enlightenment is completely rely on the dedication of others for the others, That's why Buddha is the one ultimately who has liberated himself completely from all kinds of danger. And that's, you can understand very clearly, somebody becoming enlightened completely means he has committed himself for the full service of others. Without that, there is no way one becoming enlightened completely. This is very important point we should keep in mind. That's why becoming complete enlightened is enough reason why we should take Buddha as ultimate object of refuge. If Buddha's, dedication was not there, to be Buddha for the sake of others, after becoming enlightened, I don't think Buddha will go and day and night tirelessly, teach. Yeah? But he taught more than almost 45 years. The rest of the life, continuously taught. Because the teaching is the only path through which Buddha became enlightened, and that is the only path for us too, to liberate ourselves from all kinds of problems and save ourselves completely from, not only ourselves, the whole sentience, completely from this samsara, is rely on the teachings of Buddha, which Buddha taught as he discovered, realized. So the teaching becomes the path. And that is the second thing that we can rely on. And the third one is the masters, gurus. The gurus with the quality not selfish but dedicated compassion. And not stupid but very wise, wisdom guiding, skillful teacher or the guru. So these are the only companion for us to walk on the path of enlightenment that Buddha has taught or shown to us. It's another factor that we can ultimately rely on. So three things: Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Buddha can be trusted because he is enlightened. It's not possible to be enlightened unless he has dedicated himself, committed himself for the sake of others. That's why Buddha is the ultimate object of refuge. The teaching is the second thing that we can, completely rely on, because that is the path through which Buddha became enlightened. So this is very authentic. And the masters, the wisdom and the compassionate, master, they are the best, I think, the best companion to walk on the path. So the three things that we must rely on, these are our three ratna. So for how long we rely on? Relying, it's like a boat. we use a boat, the boat that we use to cross the lake or river or ocean, whatever. If we leave the boat, halfway, then big problem. That's why we must rely on the boat until we safely reach the other shore. Yeah? That's why relying on Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, not for one day, few months or some years, even not for few lives and lives to come. Rely on Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until we become completely enlightened, just as Buddha himself, and Dharma and Sangha, develop within ourselves completely. That's why our taking refuge is like, when we have trouble, then we take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, yeah? Or something. So, this is, I think, not a good idea to take refuge only when we have problem. Think of somebody is quite difficult to, I think, completely save ourselves, from the danger. So that's why, until we become enlightened, we must rely on Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Okay? So it's not for the time being that we are Buddhist for maybe few years or maybe one lifetime, yeah? We must make sure at this present moment, within this lifetime, we must aspire, wish, commit ourselves that we be, always connected with Buddha, Dharma and Sangha in complete life and lives to come. All those life and lives to come. So we must make these wishes now. This is very important. For another thing, take refuge. To save whom? We ourselves alone, as one person, or maybe a family member, maybe one community, or one nation, or one world. No. Yeah? We must include all sentient beings. And this is another very wise way, This is, I think, also you can say the universal sense of humanism. Okay? Not only, I think, humanity, non-humanism also. Don't take it in a negative sense. That's very inclusive, Okay. So, We take refuge in whom? Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Why? Because Buddha is our? No. Why? Because we are Buddhist? No. But Buddha, Dharma and Sangha are the ultimately, reliable object of refuge to save regardless of anybody, anything, from any kind of danger. That's why Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, the three things being absolutely reliable as an ultimate object of refuge. That's why we take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Yeah? Until when? Until we reach the other shore, must rely on both. When you yourself, completely liberated, you are already in the other shore, you don't keep the boat destroyed, but respect does not mean that you have to carry the boat in our back and then sleep with the boat and eat with the boat. Is not. We just live. For others, we are already liberated, safe in the shore. Yeah. That's why, until we become completely enlightened, for the sake of others, take refuge not only ourselves, including all sentient beings. Okay, so these are three main things we should keep in our mind. How we should take refuge. Okay, you understand, yeah? Taking refuge. So when you say, the verses, the line, the recitations, taking refuge, it's not so necessary that you must pay attention, importance to the words we say. You must have that devotion to take refuge in Buddha and Dharma and Sangha. We must have that understanding until when and how many of us take refuge. So these are the things that we should keep in mind. It's not so necessary we say really in words, and that's in our own language or something. Not so necessary. So the main thing is that we must have that sense, insight. And that's already, very good devotion and refuge. Okay? The second thing, generation of bodhicitta. Everything depends on motivation. That's really true. Like we discussed about, how this world is created and how everything is different depending on our perception. Yeah, the way we look at things make big difference. That's why the motivation that we have, to do things also makes big difference. Like when you do a volunteer service for something that you're really willing to do, your energy is different, your confidence is different, your dedication is different. But if our sense of dedication is not there, volunteering, then if it is more like somebody imposes us to do, or forces us to do, even before we start the job, the work, we already get very tired. The willingness is not there. The sense of dedication, confidence, and in paying some significant, the importance is not there. You see, so that makes a big difference. Yeah, that's why motivation. Like many masters say, if your motivation is good, the place where you go is also good. The path you walk, is also good. And the destination you reach is also good. If the motivation is not good, then the rest is also, not good. Even worse. So that's what many masters say, based on their understanding, experience, realization. That's why motivation really makes a difference. And after all, generation of bodhicitta, the good motivation, is there is Holiness Dalai Lama always makes a remark, Maybe some of you may have heard of it. Buddha Shakyamuni or any Buddha being selfish, but not in a stupid way, in a very wise way. So wisely selfish, you can call, Buddha a wisely selfish. We are selfish, but very different way, exactly the opposite way. Not wise way, but a stupid way. Yeah? That's why we can just look at the difference between Buddha and ourselves. Where Buddha has reached and where we has actually, we are left. This is because, the difference being wisely selfish and selfish, very stupid way. Yeah? So that's why sense of care, sense of paying more importance, giving more importance to other than ourselves alone, one person, it's all about, what is, motivation is all about. That's why good motivation means to reduce our selfish nature, the selfish, what you call it, element that we have energy, the selfishness. So good motivation, pure motivation means to reduce the selfish habits, to make it low, to weaken it, to chase this away, to purify ourselves with this pollution. So motivation is actually to reduce our selfishness. That's what motivation is all about. Yeah? Because motivation, caring, more others than ourselves, is the only way that actually you can benefit ourselves the best way. So that this is a skillful, wise way to be selfish. Yeah? That's why motivation. Number one, we should remind ourselves how selfish that we have unknowingly been, and sometimes purposely also we be very selfish, isn't it? Purposely also. So we should be reminded ourselves. And also think, actually what this selfishness has given to me, to others, for this life and next life. Think. And also think the difference between Buddha and we, ourselves, where Buddha has reached and where we have left. Then know, being selfish is good or bad. Yeah? And we can also compare this selfishness, with the motivation that Buddha has. A good motivation where that has taken Buddha to enlightenment. And because of lack of that motivation in ourselves, we are still left here. and still we are in danger, on the cliff, very scary cliff of the mountain, just about to fall down, thousands of billions of miles, to be dropped, very danger. So that's why we can compare being selfish and being, good, pure, motivated. These things can give us some understanding why we should generate pure motivations, at least not to be selfish. And another thing about bodhicitta is, why we should care more others than ourselves. Because first, we should take ourselves as an example. Simply, very simple. Fundamental fact is that we want all kinds of happiness, comfort, peace. At least we don't want, to be suffered, isn't it? That's the fact. Maybe we have, as a person, we may have so many different types of wishes and maybe nature, But after all of us have, only two wishes: to be not suffered and to be happy. That's the fundamental fact. That includes all our wishes. You see? So when we think about this, it's not only we, ourselves alone, but this is what everybody else, not only human, but also the non-humans, including the small insect, and many other formless. There are billions of them, Ultimately, yes, absolutely the same, that they all run very busy for happiness and to get rid of suffering. When we have complete reason why we should have the complete freedom or right to get our, what we deserve, the happiness, and get rid of suffering. Similarly, they also have the same. They also deserve, the same right to be happy and to get rid of any kinds of problems. So, when we compare, based on this fact, we and others, we have absolutely no reason why we should discriminate. Yeah? Discrimination doesn't make sense at all. Okay? So that's why, based on this fact, we can develop a sense of, sameness. The equality, between ourselves and the others. Same. No matter what level, no matter what world, no matter what form, no matter what caste, what condition. Based on this, there is no difference. That's why the bodhicitta in this case also, makes greater sense. So we should understand this also. Then we will have, I think, very good reason why we should have a pure motivation. Otherwise, when we say pure motivation, okay, you just close your eyes, smile a bit, and think that, I'm very pure, and this is my pure motivation. And this is actually for myself, to be happy, forget about everything. And especially when we stand up from that, moment and discrimination and looking, down on others and all kinds of, non-human, inhuman, habit starts. So, okay. motivation and generation of motivation, the bodhicitta or good motivation, and the devotion to Buddha with genuine devotion, taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. In the beginning, whatever you do, that's the foundation of how you start your practice. Without this two, what practice we do is not so fruitful. The result is not that much, So first, as a foundation, we must have these two to do whatsoever practice. Then our practice becomes very, very meaningful. It will be more effective, accumulate more merit, So this is very important in the beginning. We do the refuge and bodhicitta. I recite this, and you can feel the sense inside. Just now I explained. Okay? Okay. We finished the first and the second part roughly yesterday, and today we should continue with the third Bardo, the Bardo number 3. But since the living Bardo is the most important Bardo, entire second, third and the fourth Bardo, whether that can be something for us, whether that can be something for us or not, completely depends on how much you have trained in this moment, how much we have mastered in the practice in this present moment. What degree of practice that we have done in this present living moment, living Bardo, entirely depends on this. If we are very good, well instructed, trained, practiced, the rest Bardo all becomes golden opportunity, and that is why the first Bardo, the Bardo number 1, is regarded as the most important Bardo. Okay, then the rest. In Tantra teaching, there is an example how good practitioner, in this present moment, those who have done practice very good, got the instruction very clear, and the person is already, expert in all those things in this present moment, how they get enlightened, at the moment of death. The example goes, we have so many birds that give egg, and the birds, they lay the egg in their nest, Normally, the egg has to be cared by the birds very well. After the egg hatches, the baby chick, has to be cared a lot. The mother birds has to sustain, raise up the chicks, protect the chick until it can really survive, fly, by its own. But there is another bird called Garuda. That's different from other birds. Garuda is considered to be the king of the birds. Garuda lays an egg, but the chicks are grown inside the egg. The chicks are raised up within the egg. The egg, does not have to hatch chicks, with no